Hello, good afternoon. I am joined today by my very long-term friend and someone who I worked for when I was a staff member in the state legislature. He was then the assembly member, and today he's the United States representative of this district, Congressmember Paul Tonko. State Senator Jim Tedisco, I also worked with him when I was in the state legislature as a staff member, and Assembly Member Angelo Santa Barbara, and Schenectady Mayor Gary McCarthy, and County Legislator Gary Hughes, and County Legislator Michelle Osterlich. Did I say that correctly? Osterich. Correct me. Did I say it right? Osterich. Okay, thank you. And the advocates Dara Smith, senior attorney from AARP Foundation, Mary Harshorn from St. Clair's Pensioner, Jerry and Kathy Adock from St. Clair's Pensioners, and a number of other pensioners who have joined us here today. So today, my office filed a lawsuit against the Catholic Diocese of Albany, its leadership and others, for years of negligent and intentional acts that deprived more than 1,100 New Yorkers of their hard-earned pension, including 600 retirees who lost all pension rights. Let me say that again. 650 retirees who lost all pension rights, and 450 retirees who received only a single payment equal to 70% of the value of their pension. These individuals dedicated decades of service to this community. They were nurses and lab technicians and social workers and EMTs and orderlies and housekeepers and other essential workers. They represented the salt of the earth. They cared for our sick, the elderly, vulnerable. They served this community. On average, they worked between 10 to 50 years. And they trusted that their employer, St. Clare's Hospital and the Catholic Diocese, would care for them in return. They never fathomed that instead the diocese would intentionally break and ignore the law in the process, deny them their hard-earning savings that they were depending on during their late years in life. These New Yorkers deserve justice, and more importantly, they deserve the money that they are owed and they rightfully worked for. In this lawsuit, we outline years of negligence by the diocese, the St. Clair's Corporation, and other leaders of the church, which violated multiple state laws. And they include violating their fiduciary and their legal responsibilities to the St. Clair's Corporation, the entity tasked with managing the hospital and pension. They are responsible for removing the pension plan from the protections available under federal law known as ERISA, which stands for the Employees Retirement Income Security Act. And this ERISA would have provided protections for these pensioners. They failed to properly fund, monitor, administer, and insure the pension, and its resulting failure to administer the pension, as I mentioned, all of which violate the New York For-Profit Corporations Law and New York Estates Power and a Trust Law. That's the action that we are taking today. But this has been years in the making. When the hospital closed in 2008, the St. Clair's Corporation continued to exist primarily to manage the pension fund. It received $28.5 million in Medicaid funds from the state of New York to fund its employee and retiree pensions. And at the time, St. Clair said that this was enough money to fully fund its pension, but that money never was close to paying the debts. Never came close to paying its debts. And ultimately, in 2018, the board voted to terminate the pension plan altogether. The next year, the diocese petitioned the court to dissolve St. Clair's Corporation, even though they knew that they owed $50 million to the pension. My office opposed this action, and we began an investigation. So how did we get here? In the early 90s, the diocese sought and revised a church plan exemption from federal law, ERISA, which requires minimum standards for pension plans in the private sector. Although exempt from some federal provisions, the diocese was still required to take action under New York state law to ensure the viability of the pension plan. And most notably, the diocese and the pension plan were required to make minimum funding contributions and carry pension insurance to protect the beneficiaries. However, our investigation uncovered that the diocese failed to make its required annual contributions to the pension plan for all but 2 years between 2000 and 2019, meaning that they only made legally required contributions for 2 out of 19 years. As a result, the pension was underfunded by at least $43 million during this period. They filed false IRS forms to hide the fact that the plan was actually insolvent. And in its application for this exemption, the corporation and the diocese represented to the federal government, the IRS, that the employees were diocese employees and the diocese controlled the corporation. The corporation and its directors continued to breach their fiduciary duty in numerous ways, failing to obtain insurance to protect the pensioners' benefits, choosing not to combine St. Clare's pensions with other diocese pension plans to ensure that they would get paid, appointing individuals to oversee the corporation who, by their own admission, were incompetent, inexperienced, and unable to manage a pension plan, and acting in their own personal best interests instead of the interests of the pensioners. All violations of their fiduciary duties under New York state law. Overall, we found decades of mismanagement and incompetence. We found multiple opportunities over the years for the diocese to properly fund, monitor, and administer the pension. They turned their backs to the pensioners each and every time. These immoral and unlawful decisions span many years and multiple people. The named defendants in our lawsuit include the Roman Catholic Diocese of Albany, the St. Clare's Corporation, the entity tasked with managing the pension, and the bishops and the other leaders of the Diocese Corporation. Today we are filing this lawsuit so that these pensioners who stand with me today are finally taken care of and get the money that they earned and are owed. It is clear that the diocese failed at every single level and in every single way. And the pensioners, the retirees, some of who are here today, were the ones to pay the highest price. I want to remind all of you that I am a woman of faith, and my faith guides me. It encourages me, and I am taught to help others, especially the vulnerable, especially those who unfortunately are victims of injustice and those that may not be able to help themselves. So I cannot allow this institution of faith and charity to get away with doing such harm to this community. Call it negligence, call it mismanagement, call it incompetence, but I'm only concerned about one word, and one word which is something which is part of who I am, and that is my quest for justice. I am prepared to utilize the fullest extent of my office to fight for the benefits that these 1,100 individuals are owed and are due. Now I'd like to invite some elected officials and impacted pensioners to share a few words, starting with Mary Horshorn, a St. Clare's pensioner. Ms. Horshorn.
For the first time, I'm speechless because I'm here at St. Clare's after all these years, which we all miss. And I'm so grateful to the Attorney General and her staff, to all of the attorneys that we have and their staff, to Assemblyman Santa Barbara, to Senator Tedisco, and any other people that have helped us along the way, because we're not legal people, we're medical people. The St. Clare's pensioners are 1,100 plus of the most amazing people in the world. And we had a leader Lori Daviero, who started this, and she has unfortunately passed. And when she asked me to take her place because she was so ill, I was kind of mixed. But my loyalty to St. Clare's came through. When you worked at St. Clare's Hospital, you were there with friends and family, because everybody became family. So when we were told each year that we had to give up our raise in order for these people to not be laid off, we did it because we were told we had a pension and that would make up for it. Never did we think that we were going to lose it in such an abrupt and inhuman way. The pensioners are suffering terribly. They're such a great group, they don't complain. But it's very difficult. We've lost homes, we've lost careers, and now we had gone through a pandemic and now a terrible inflation. And here we are, and out of the blue, because I don't know legal, comes this. I don't even know how to say it except thank you to everyone who's so kind and helping us through this. I don't know what else to say. Thank you so much. This is going to make such a difference. The St. Clare's pensioners are the ones that deserve all of the credit, and some of them are here. These hardworking people, this hospital would never have run without them.
Come on up. Come on up.
Lenny, Jerry, Maureen. These are the people. Our nurses, our ancillary staff, our maintenance people. Hospitals don't run without these people. I was in radiology, and when we sat in the cafeteria and ate, we sat with everybody. The administration, the doctors, people from laundry. It didn't matter where you were. Right. We were all a family, and we have been a family, and we've stuck together through this, and I'm so proud of all of them for representing themselves as the wonderful people that they are. Thank you so much to Attorney General James and all of the staff members, everyone. You've helped us somewhere where we could never do it. So thank you so much to everybody. And I'm proud of all these pensioners, all of them.
No,
I'm camera shy.
not at all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doing okay?
Next, I'd like to introduce the United States Representative for this district, Congressmember Paul Tonko.
Thank you, Tish. To our Attorney General, Letitia James, better known as Tish to me, thank you for your search for justice, and thank you to you and your team at the agency for all of the hard work and the perseverance and the determination. As you heard, it means everything to many that are gathered here as pensioners, as retirees, as individuals who worked very hard at the St. Clare's Hospital Institution. Pensions are earned benefits, and I'll underscore the word earned. Their loyalty and their trust, as Mary described, was an ingredient that the workforce carried with it in its association with St. Clare's. We're talking about the nurses, the housekeepers, the lab technicians, the social workers, and many others who made St. Clare's the loving touch. And as Pat rightfully indicated, they were loyal and they were trusting. And those values bear great, great significance as we go forward. The work done by the Attorney General to determine some of the failure here is an important part in a process that builds hope in these lives. You know, the hard-working group that they are represent the best of working families, people who rightfully expect that if you give yourself to a cause, if you give yourself to a corporation, an institution, you rightfully anticipate that as you leave that workforce, as you leave your career, that retirement funds will be there. And so for the 1,100 pensioners, this is a search for justice. This is an opportunity now to reclaim those benefits. knowing that some 1,100 people have been affected, knowing that there was a stretch of nearly 20 years where $43 million were not invested in the pension plan is a disheartening discovery here. It's also a concern because from the federal perspective, as we heard about this plight so many times over, the nexus that we realize when we're fighting for pension opportunities and enhancing and underpinning pension opportunities is by working through the Federal Retirement Benefits Guarantee Corporation. And when that payment was not made because the exemption, they chose an exemption. When that payment, that association was not firm and guaranteed, then the opportunity to underpin in a dangerous situation like this just did not exist. And so there was not an avenue by which we could pursue in the federal area. So I appreciate the work, Tish, in this effort. I know that it takes a lot of talent and intellect to drive down to the final line, but to be here today with all of you, look, the fight is beginning here. Everyone needs to pursue what's best for the worker here and to commit ourselves to that agenda and to work with your agency, with our state and local legislators to make certain that justice is served. And thank you again for your fight for justice, and to all of the people who had organized routinely to speak forcefully to the resolve here. Congratulations on this step in the process. And Mary, the tears are totally understood. They're totally understood. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. We're going to hear from another St. Clair's pensioner, Mr. Jerry Adock. Jerry, come on.
Hi, quick and short, I just want to thank the Attorney General, and I also want to thank Dara Smith and her team from the AARP. We are so grateful and appreciative of this help, and it's kind of like a miracle that it's even gotten to this far. So again, thank you very much. Truly appreciated.
Next, we will hear from State Senator Tedisco to share a few words. Senator Tedisco contacted my office as well. I want to thank him for his leadership. Senator?
Thank you so much, Attorney General. You know, this weekend we did something at my home that we do every 5 years. This weekend was unique. It was our 50th annual reunion of our varsity basketball game at Union College. It was a team. 11 out of 13 players came back. Great academic school, but the most important lesson we learned is the lesson you see right here. Every part of our life that's going to be success is a team that works together. It's your family, it's academics, it's the New York State Legislature, the federal government if they work together, it's the community, and it's Mary Hartshorn as the coach of the leader, and all these other individuals who were her bee workers, who never gave up. And believe me, it would have been easy to give up, because if you think about it, any of us right here would have probably given up along the way. Not going to happen. Never had the opportunity to plan. Their rug was pulled out from under them. Now, all of us have bad days once in a while, and we get raw deals. Their bad day is every day. Their raw deal is the ultimate deal. It's their economic future. It's their ability to keep their home, to pay their mortgage, to make their car payment, to put groceries on their table. And every single day, Mary and them writing letters to the editor, contacting legislators, forcing us to understand what it would feel like to be in their position. Not have a future, an economic future, to go by that they had planned over year by year by year, and have the rug pulled out from under them. So I'm proud of the fact that we did foil for some information, my staff and I. We got some information we sent to the AG. We worked with Mary the best way we could. We thought some ideas that might help her, but this is the ultimate idea. This is get the top attorney, our AG, to do the tremendous job she does by doing an investigation she promised to do. And if anybody thought she wouldn't get to this point and finish it, you were most mistaken. She doesn't start something that she doesn't finish it. I could tell a few few guys that don't understand it right now out there, but I won't mention their names, okay? But this is the start, but it's a start that has to move as quickly as we can possibly make it move, because we're all getting older. The pensioners are pensioners because they are older, so we have to do everything we can to make this move as quickly as possible. But this is a wonderful day. It's a great day in Schenectady, and it's a great day for the special people who served, and you have to understand this, they were the hospital of last resort for people who could not to pay for their health care. They went to another one. You don't have insurance, you don't have money in your pocket, out the door. Not here. You came in, you got the service, maybe you didn't pay, and that's why that consolidation with the Burger Commission took place. They weren't going to hold up very long, but they stood in the pocket as long as they could. They were tremendous professionals. And when the time came during that pandemic, unbelievably, Mary and the others got letters. There's a pandemic. We need healthcare workers. You're retirees. Can you come out and contribute? That was pouring a little bit of salt in the wound, but guess what? Many of them came out and sacrificed and served even though they weren't getting their pension. God bless you, Mary, and God bless the people you led. What a team. Watch out, NBA.
Thank you, Senator. Another elected official who contacted my office and who focused on this issue and has continued to focus on this issue is Assemblymember Angelo Santabarbara. Assemblymember.
Thanks. I want to thank the retirees for, as Jim said, they never gave up on this. They brought this to us, and this is not a new issue. This is a crisis that's been going on for a long time. Mary, Jerry, Kathy, all the retirees that gave us the information, that brought this issue to us. It's very important that our community respond. And as you can see behind me, it's not just Jim and myself and the AG. Our community is here to support them. That's what this community is about. I want to thank Attorney General James for standing up for the pensioners, for taking on this important issue to all of us. And she's here today to make this announcement in our community. When we asked her for help, she's been a leader on this issue. She responded, and as Jim said, if anyone thought she wasn't going to get to this point, you were wrong. Over the past few years, we've rightly praised those in healthcare, their hard work, their dedication to protecting our communities, even when they put themselves in danger. And these pensioners came out of retirement during the pandemic, as Jim said earlier, to help others. And during a time where they were facing challenges that we can only imagine what it would be like, they showed up to help other people. But these words of praise for our healthcare workers are deserved. But unfortunately, they ring hollow for more than 1,000 retirees that are represented here, because they had the rug pulled out from under them when the pension fund collapsed. They gave years of their lives, and they deserve a stable retirement they can depend on to get them through the golden years. The loss of this investment is unthinkable. That's why it's so important that we continue to fight and we continue to seek justice and to find solutions to restore this fund and give these retirees the pensions that they deserve, the pensions that they've earned. This unfair treatment of healthcare workers would be unacceptable in any situation, but it's shocking under these circumstances. However, again, we're thankful for the AG's continued work. It's an important step forward, her announcement here today. What we heard is that the fund didn't have benefit guarantee insurance, and we're told this was allowable by religious exemption. But again, in 2019, she revealed that the trustees actually voted to buy the insurance that would have prevented any of this from happening. None of us would be here right now, but it never happened. And late last year, she took the time to reach out on a Zoom call. It had to be on Zoom back then. Jerry and Kathy Adak were on that Zoom to get an update. She took the time to explain, give an update all along the way to the retirees when they needed it. These were very difficult times for all of us. The pandemic was certainly presented new challenges, and now the challenges we're facing now with inflation, the rising cost of gasoline, it's affecting all of us. But they've watched their savings disappear through all this. And on that Zoom call, Jerry and Kathy described how painful it was to watch a savings that was promised to them vanish in the blink of an eye, and it's through no fault of their own. These hardworking men and women spent years caring for our most vulnerable, and the last thing they should have to do is fight for the pensions that they are rightfully owed. So again, I thank the AG for her continued work on this. I know that myself, I'm going to continue to work to find solutions to restore this fund. These are individuals that are forced to live with the impact of this crisis, and we need to keep going. This is through no fault of their own. I will do everything I can in my power in the State Assembly to continue. We've been with you from the start. Jim and I have been there from the start, and we're going to continue to fight until we get a solution and make this right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Assemblymember Barbara. So when I ran for the office of Attorney General, the reporters asked me, what is your most favorite city or town in upstate New York? And I said, Schenectady. And they said, why? And I said, well, I lived here when I worked in the state legislature. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you the mayor of Schenectady. Yeah, Mayor Gary McCarthy.
Thank you, Tish. And again, you know, it's just so great to see you here today. Tish James is part of a long and distinguished group of smart and talented individuals who have served the state as Attorney General. In today's case shows the tenacity. It's not an easy case. This is what we call a historical case. You have to go back through and recreate records that are not a couple years old, they're decades old, to see what people did, what they didn't do. And I compliment you and your team for that tenacity that has put this together, that puts it in perspective, and it allows people to understand the significance of their actions, and hopefully as it moves forward, it's going to bring some compensation to these individuals that have been so adversely affected. And Madam Attorney General, I thank you not only for this case, but the work that you and your team do every day for the people of this state. And of course, we're always glad to see you in Schenectady.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Our final speaker is Dara Smith, the senior attorney at AARP Foundation. Ms. Smith.
Thank you so much, everybody. I am on a team of 7 attorneys that's been working on litigating similar issues since 2019. And we have been so fortunate to get to work alongside the attorneys in the Attorney General's office, including Diane Hertz, who's over there, and Jim Sheehan over here, who are incredibly talented and brilliant and hardworking, and I know that they're going to continue doing the amazing work that they've been doing in this case. This day has been a long time coming. It's been a long fight so far, too long for too many people who have been waiting for the benefits that they earned. But we're never going to give up, and I know that they're never going to give up because they're incredible. And what I hope is that this incredible action by the Attorney General will be a wake-up call to St. Clare's and the diocese and its leadership, that it's time to stop saying this is a tragedy and we're so sad that this happened, and to start taking responsibility and do the right thing. Thanks.
Thank you.
When we were notified about St. Clare's, our team immediately went to work. And obviously, this is not about me. It's really about the team, the Office of Attorney General. And I would be remiss if I did not recognize and acknowledge all of the wonderful attorneys who have worked on this case from day one. Assistant Attorney General Diane Hertz, come on down. Assistant Attorney General Donna Cole-Paul, come on down. Assistant Belinda Segrest, and I hope I said that correctly. Assistant Kelly Gasper. Of course, the Bureau Chief of the Charities Bureau is Jim Sheehan. Jim, come on down. I've got a number of bureaus, but Charities is one of my favorites. And of course, all of this was done under the leadership of the Chief, Deputy Attorney General for Social Justice, Megan Fox. Megan, come on down. And now we'll take any on-topic questions. On topic. Yes?
What was the first notification or primary notification that prompted the start of the investigation?
So there were a number of complaints that came into our office, and also we were notified by the wonderful elected officials who are here today, and also because of the media reports with respect to St. Clare's, and as a result of that, we decided to look into this action, as well as the pensioners themselves.
When the Attorney General sues like this,
Yeah.
do these things ever go to trial, or are they typically settled?
It's a combination. It all depends. Sometimes individuals come to the table to settle complaints, and oftentimes we go to trial. So it's incumbent upon St. Clare's. The responsibility falls upon St. Clare's. We are open, we're accessible, we're ready to sit down, but basically what we want is justice for these pensioners, who some of them had to take on second jobs in their mature life. They've had to work at a time when they really should be retired and enjoying the fruits of their labor. But unfortunate right now, to make ends meet, some of them have lost their homes, have not been in a position to take care of their family. They've had to take on other jobs, and that's unfortunate. And that's why we are here today, to seek simple and sweet justice. Any other questions?
Do you have a sense of what amount of money this is to make pensions all of history? How money is anybody's office?
It's $55 million, and so we are suing the diocese to determine and to seek full restitution for these pensioners, and I'm confident that they have the resources, the diocese here in Albany. Any other questions on topic? Okay, off topic.
Prepared to defend the state with this Adult Survivors Act that the governor signed today?
Yes, we're prepared. We, as you know, are constitutionally mandated to represent the state of New York, the governor of the state of New York, and the legislature, and we are prepared to defend the act that was signed into law by the governor today. Any other questions off topic? Thank you all for coming. Please talk to the pensioners, hear their stories, so we can seek justice for them. Again, I want to thank the team, amazing team that we have in the Office of Attorney General, but most importantly, I really want to thank the pensioners for all that they have done and the elected officials who represent them. This is the purpose of government, to serve. Thank you all.